I am in an X-Wing, and I hope you're all jealous. Spent a lot of time looking for this.
Looking for an X-Wing?
Yes.
Wait, what have you got on the back of the chair?
Oh, the back of the chair. So, because I've got the green screen now, the chair I have is actually green.
Oh, so it's
an even better.
Chair.
Well, I can. So I threw my orange jacket over it, which is that. I can take that off and see what that's like. But because it's not fully green, I thought it was a bit distracting.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, that's a bit
good.
weird.
That is
listeners,
not good.
Pod audio only listeners, be assured, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
Welcome to Multiple Nerdgasm with your hosts, Matt, Luke, and Dan. Multiple Nerdgasm, your guide to all things nerdy.
Oh, this is not going well now. Oh.
We've disrupted the whole thing.
Yeah, this is your fault. It was all good.
Yeah, no.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Responsibility.
All right, that's as good as it's going to get for now. I'll fix it later.
I'm back.
Now, this is an animated X-Wing.
Yes, it is.
Wait, what's it doing?
No, it's not moving. But I mean, it's a cell rendered X-Wing.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. It's just some fan art out there.
Oh, okay. Speaking of cell rendered, have you guys seen the trailer to the new Turtles movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
I did. I saw it.
Fucking amazing.
I saw it before Indy, I think. Did you know that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did the soundtrack?
I had forgotten
because I saw that they were doing it, and I was like,
twice the reasons.
What the fuck?
No, this looks beautiful.
Yeah,
the animation looks like Renaissance art.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it actually done hand drawn or is it just look like that?
I doubt it. I think it's 3D and a filter.
Yeah, it looks very.
I don't think anything's really hand drawn anymore.
No. And in fact, there's a new Disney movie coming out that looks like the old Disney movies, and I have a suspiption that that's also 3D and with a 2D filter.
Yeah, ChatGPT can do anything now.
Yeah.
Have you seen the other Disney movie? Have you seen the other Disney movie they're bringing out with they're trying to do the Pirates of the Caribbean thing and do a movie based off the ride?
Oh yeah, the Haunted Mansion.
That looks
now
terrible.
I love that ride. I love that ride very much.
Yeah, it's good.
And actually, I really like the movie they made about the Jungle Cruise.
Oh, was that? Oh, that's right. You
did The Rock.
Yeah, with The Rock, it was really good, and Metallica did the soundtrack.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but yeah, the new one I don't think it's going to do too well. I saw the trailer a few times. I've been to the movies lately, and it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look great, does it?
Well, I can tell you, from what I understand, it's not doing well. So
no, but that doesn't mean a goddamn thing.
No, of course
it doesn't
these days.
Who fucking knows? Until you actually see a movie now, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, and even just I have to see it myself, I guess. Now
you do.
Yeah.
I still just like going back to remember when the studios were all against pirating and pirating is bad and it's losing all this money, but then every year they'd have record profits and this movie's made more than any other movie before, but pirating's killing it.
It makes me question now whether we're all going bankrupt over here in Hollywood. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to sell one of my many houses.
Blood. Yeah.
It just seems like every week there's a new record being broken for a movie. Like, it's weird.
Well, I mean, inflation's going to make sure that happens regardless.
I'm not making fun of the actors who are on strike, by the way. I'm making fun of the rich people.
I'll make fun of them for two reasons. Number one, friends of mine who have moved to Hollywood who are out picketing and putting photos on Instagram going, I'm also on strike. Now, did you have a job to strike from? If you were an out-of-work actor and you're on strike, it's not really...
Well, look at all of us out here choosing not to work right now.
That's right.
But isn't that
standing
also part
in celebrities?
Isn't it also part of the thing that some people are striking for, the fact that there's like... not with the actors, but more so the people behind the screens, they don't have that job security type of thing.
Well, I tell you, everyone who's not an actor who's not on strike right now is involuntarily on strike because there's no fucking production. So all of my mates who are set painters and stuff are like, I've got to sell my fucking house, guys. Get back to work.
Yeah, it's hard. I saw one. I'm not going to say who it is. It was an actor who posted something on Instagram, and it didn't go down the way they intended because it did come across quite funny, and they were talking about how they had a small role in a film many, many years ago, and they get paid a good amount of money every year for that. Whereas they've done a big Netflix film recently, and they don't get a whole lot of money for that. And then people in the comments were like, okay, most of us have to work all the time to get
Yeah, I don't get paid for jobs I used to work at.
Yeah. So and I was like, oh yeah, that is a bit disconnected, isn't it? Like, I know that's how it works, but it's like
said how to turn $40 into $4,000. Put $40 worth of petrol in your car and go to work.
But I'm even looking at it, though, but that's sort of missing the point of what they're asking for, because the residuals and things like that check after is that they want. But if you've done a recent thing with Netflix, they haven't on-sold it. You got paid for that, and then it hasn't been sold again.
It's not going to be. That's the thing. That's the problem, is that it just doesn't work the same way. And they're discovering now that it just the money's not going to be the same.
But they
same with
always
like
did
Spotify and that.
I was in a commercial once, and I had, I think it had a 2-year run before any residuals, and then residuals after 2 years. And literally on the 1 year and 364th day, they pulled that from air.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, so they
Sure.
they were always working out how to not pay residuals.
Yes. So really, you just want to be paid up front
Or back end.
Yeah. Or just do it for publicity. That's what.
Yeah,
that's what you're
just
supposed
do,
to do.
do it for your show reel. Yeah,
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's right. Same. I've barely ever been
I've been
paid.
doing that for 40 years. I'm back, and I can hear out of one ear. So
Oh, yeah,
that's
Matt's
something,
back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you can talk out of one mouth, so that's good.
I don't know if you guys have ever had a bad ear infection. It's fucking awful.
So it's one of those
I used to
things,
get them when I was a kid, and they were agonising. But
my sister used to get them. I've never had one, so I don't know. I can't compare it to anything. It's
If you start to get one, listeners, don't do what I did and think, that'll probably go away. Just go to the fucking doctor, because you do not want it to escalate. I promise you.
Pre-20th century, yes, that is what you just had to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now that we have
get some
penicillin,
antibiotics.
you do not have to endure that.
Unless you hate sleeping,
Yeah.
you want to get rid of it as soon as possible, because it's fucking painful. I learned that you can take. I don't have a lot of experience with painkillers, unlike some other hosts of this podcast, Luke.
just rubbing my heart.
I learned that you can take.
rough.
I learned that you can take 4 ibuprofen at a time without dying.
Oh.
I'd never taken more than 2. So
Also, recently, remember when I had food poisoning for 2 solid weeks?
yeah.
I learned that I can't take ibuprofen.
Oh yeah, that'll fuck your stomach up. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I also
it doesn't
learned
take
that-
paracetamol now.
You can stack. Listeners, this is not medical advice.
you can
Let me
stack
be
both of them.
very clear. I'm not encouraging you to do this, right? Go see a doctor. I only did this because
Yeah.
the doctor told me to. If you take ibuprofen and it's not working, you can take Panadol.
Paracetamol. Yeah.
Yes, because they're different.
They're
But
different.
again, listeners, don't take my word for this. Go see a
Yeah.
fucking doctor.
If you need some
No,
help,
no.
come talk
You're
to me. I'll
you're
give you
getting
advice.
specific
Don't
medical advice.
go see a doctor, not Michael
I've
Jackson's
seen
doctor.
Luke literally
Just
crush
don't go
and
see him.
snort an endone, okay? Off of my desk. So,
I unfortunately have a very good relationship with painkillers. I don't like it.
I don't know if it's a good relationship. You know, there's somebody else who had a good relationship with painkillers. Are we going to talk about him now, or is this after party material?
Like
Let's
I
do
said,
it
as I
now.
said, go see a doctor, not Michael Jackson's doctor.
Like Michael Jackson's, because his doctor
Well, you
was
can't.
honestly
He's
just
in prison.
as he should be, because he was basically just giving him drugs to knock him out, wasn't he? Like,
He was putting him on IV anesthetizing
something.
drugs
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
really supposed to have
For insomnia.
professionals- Yeah,
Yeah.
just to get to sleep.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
So-
not something that's not meant to be an extreme. Like we do this, not are you a bit sleepy? Okay, we'll tuck you in for the night, and I'll
And I'll
hot
see you in the
chocolate.
morning.
And
Yeah.
there's a chocolate and a little
Yeah.
boy. Snuggle in.
So if you're just tuning in, we mentioned Michael Jackson last week because there's a new podcast out called Think Twice that I was listening to. I've now finished. I recommended it. It is pretty comprehensive, although if you want a really deep dive, you've got to go elsewhere or do your own research. Do your own research. I'm just asking questions. Sorry.
You're a flat earther now.
I thought it was good. There were a couple of bits in it that made me go, hang on, what? Which encouraged me afterwards. And if it hadn't been for that, I probably might not have bothered. But I did look up stuff afterwards, and I was like, it leaves out quite a bit of stuff that I think is quite important to the story.
The problem is, you shared a good link with me, Matt, and I watched the entire thing. But
It's just, I mean, it's all opinion. That's the problem. Is it's all
and the
anecdotal.
problem I find with it is everybody either starts with the intent to exonerate or to incriminate.
Yes.
Nobody goes, I'll look at the research first, then I'll make up my mind. And
I'm not
the
sure you can figure it out.
Well,
either
here's
way.
the other thing. It's not for us to decide.
No,
the
of course
FBI did a full investigation. There were 2 court cases, and he was exonerated. So, like, in the laws that govern our society, he has been deemed innocent.
Yeah.
But after the podcast, is he good or bad?
Well, here's the thing. Also, this happened years ago before the internet, when the media used to report in a very different way, where it was very, very difficult for people to fact check and garner their own opinions, which is both a good and a bad thing in equal measures. But
there's a lot of stuff that we just didn't know back then. That I was able to look up stuff, and I go, oh, okay, and I could have a completely different perspective
also-
to anything
well,
I could have known back
the
then.
1993 raid by the FBI. Their notes on that are in public record now. You can, and they're slightly redacted, but you can go and read through them.
But is it also coming from a period of time where some of this stuff was alleged to happen, that it was a time when Hollywood and things did sweep stuff under the rug?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Absolutely, more than
Like-
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Me Too and all that changed a lot with that culture.
Well, it certainly changed the way that we listen to accusers, but that may or may not have made a difference
the
in
reason why I'm
this
going with that
specific
is-
case.
I was listening to an interview with Johnny Rotten recently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And there's
We've got
recently-
some Sex Pistols news this week.
Oh, well, that sort of fits in, but it sort of fits in with this. So in 1978, remember Jimmy Savile?
Yes.
That terrible,
Savile.
terrible guy.
Yeah,
who-
the guy who was clearly a weirdo pervert
yes.
that somehow got to hang out with a
in the
British
UK.
TV host.
Yes.
Who was doing all this stuff with kids for decades, and then
yeah.
eventually
And would
came
make
out. He was
like
really
jokes about it.
touching them.
And then there was a radio interview that Johnny Rotten did, basically calling him out, kind of like, we all know the rumours and stuff that which they suppressed, and then they went, BBC wouldn't allow him to go on for years. And it's sort of like,
Yes.
it's at a time where even he says, like, you're probably not going to air this because I've said these things,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
didn't.
So
And
in
it was
other
at a
words,
time where-
even if they did get called out, that
Yes.
was what got silenced, not...
Yes. Not the...
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
Well, if
probably
there's
the same
one thing I've learned from this podcast and from my own research and from listening to a couple of other interviews and stuff, is that Michael Jackson is such an interesting man. And I don't mean because of his crazy childhood and stuff. Anything he did in his life, he did because we allowed him to do it. We as a society allowed him to do it. Because here's the thing, and we can go into this, but if he was touching kids in his bed, it was because we as a society said, take as many kids to your bed as you want, mate. Like,
Yeah,
you're
no
a
one
good
questioned
singer and a
him.
great dancer.
Yeah.
You can just be on TV holding
That
kids'
is the weirdest
hands
thing,
going,
though,
I
is-
love him, and no one will say a goddamn thing.
I don't know how to approach like.
Just go into
The-
it. Just spew it out.
Okay, so in every case where there were allegations made against him, there's always something that makes
Yes.
me go, why should I trust these people? Because there's never a clean-cut case where somebody just went to the cops and said, I just want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
There's always some suspicious shit going on.
Correct.
Like
yeah.
the
Always
first
some money involved.
the first kid's dad wanted $20 million, and he didn't actually
Yeah.
even give a shit about the kid. He just wanted $20 million, and then the kid told Michael Jackson's private investigator, "Oh, my dad just wants the money." And then I mean,
Yeah, I
and
think
then
this is
the other thing, the big thing is, and they didn't mention this podcast, which was the main thing that I was kind of like, I found it afterwards, and I was like, it's so weird that they didn't mention this, but that kid, they raided the mansion, they took
Yep.
photos of Michael Jackson naked, dick and all.
Yeah.
And when
As
they
you do.
compared the kid's description of the dick it didn't match the dick. The kid said that he was circumcised and he wasn't. And that's why there was no legal case ever brought against him. They couldn't get a grand jury to indict Michael Jackson because they said there's no evidence here. This kid got everything wrong.
Yeah.
And then in the podcast, they say, Michael Jackson settled that case, which sounds bad until you find out the district attorney wouldn't drop the legal case. He just couldn't progress it. And then the civil case happened, which meant if they went to court and Michael Jackson was deposed and everything like that, they would see all the evidence and the family would see all the evidence. And then they go, well, now we know what to make up to get
they
him.
would see the evidence presented in the civil case.
And then his lawyers told him, you've got to pay them
because
you can't go to court in a civil case because the legal case will happen afterwards and you'll be fucked.
This is a problem thing I always find weird. This shows doubt on it is when they proceed like you said, they proceed with the civil case first. They try and go down that route instead of just honestly, if this was to happen anywhere and I was aware of it, I'd be going straight to the police.
Yeah,
like
step one.
From what I could find afterwards, Michael Jackson refused to settle the case until literally the day before, and then the judge and the lawyers told him, "You will be deposed tomorrow, and this will fucking ruin you."
Yeah,
because
You've
will
got
get
the
you.
money. It's
They will
worth
get
nothing
you.
to you. Just pay.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was like, "I'm not paying because that'll make me look guilty." And they're like, "No,
But I think
mate.
the other problem
go on a
we've got
court
with
when
this-
somebody's already seen your defense. That will make you look guilty."
Whether he did it or not, I don't know. But that's all just very sus. Like,
But then you've also got other ones that have come out and said it, and it has been false, which is it doesn't help if there is something wrong going on when you've got false reports happening.
the second kid there's a whole
So
situation.
that was the 1993 case. This is the 2003.
Yeah, the 2003
case. you're talking
case. That kid, he was a cancer survivor that Michael Jackson had given money to help save him and all that kind of stuff. Brought him onto that very poorly considered documentary.
about. Well,
Which
poorly
there's
considered,
facts
but
about
also
that.
you could argue was completely contrived in order to make him look
There's
guilty.
facts about that they left out too, which annoyed me. We talk about that, but that
like
kid's
the
family,
fact that Martin Bashir asked him to have kids there on the day.
yes, and then said in the
because Michael
documentary, "I can't
Jackson's
believe he's got all
a
these
fucking
kids here."
idiot. Yeah,
and then,
goes,
and then
"Yeah,
he
sure, I can
invited the
get
kids. Yeah, he said, "I want shots of him with kids so that I can point out that he's
so
with
that I
kids."
can incriminate him." Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't know they were filming this documentary. Unbeknownst to them, Michael Jackson's people were filming the documentary being filmed, and were then able to in court show footage of them making shit up.
Yeah.
And what a mess.
It is
But anyway,
a
that
mess,
kid's
yeah.
family, Chris Tucker, told Michael Jackson they were
Chris
all
Tucker?
for some reason they were all on vacation together. Yeah,
Chris Tucker knew him first.
Yeah, so he said, "Oh, this sick kid." Michael Jackson gave him a bunch of money, got him, he got well, and then they became friends, and they were all on vacation together. And this family was apparently saying to Chris Tucker, "Oh, you should give us your car. You've got enough money. You can buy another car." And Chris Tucker told Michael Jackson, "This family's fucked, mate. You've got to stop hanging out with them. They're gonna fuck you over." And so Michael Jackson cut him off, and then suddenly he was molesting that kid. Like, again,
And-
I'm not saying he didn't, but it's a bit
no.
suspicious.
Yeah, and just
It was all fine while it was happening.
And the kid's mum had previously accused security guards at a store that she was shoplifting from of molesting her when they arrested her.
First she got arrested and then tried to sue them for just physically manhandling her. So that it was assault. And then when that didn't fly, she said, "Oh, it was sexual assault," and they
Yeah,
opened it
touched
back up
me,
again. Yeah.
Well, it's not to say it's not to say it didn't happen, but it could be.
No,
You could be going
but
back
it
to parents
muddies
ago.
it.
It
It
was
just
happening,
muddies
and
it
they
so
were okay
much.
with it. Why they were getting free holidays and.
But
It
that's
just
the
muddies
thing.
the water so much
Yes.
though, that I can't just.
Yeah.
There's no clear cut case where, and then
there
the
never will
final
be.
case, the final two kids, Wade Robson, one of the kids who's accused him more recently, was a defendant in the 2003 case when questioned, was asked, "Did Michael Jackson touch you on the penis?" Not was it abuse or did he do anything abusive? And they just asked specific questions, and he said no. And then now
but
he's saying,
just to-
"Oh, I didn't know it was
full
abuse."
context.
But that didn't ask him if it was abuse. They just asked him if it happened. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
And this is where there's that statute of limitation doesn't come in with this, because you do have, even though he's a question, there is this thing where children will repress things. And
but this guy was like 100% supportive of Michael Jackson. He was working for him. He was doing all this stuff for years and years and years, until 2 weeks before he accused him. He didn't get a job working on the Vegas show. And then all of a
Cirque
sudden,
du Soleil, Michael Jackson tribute
and then all of a
show.
sudden, he got molested. I don't know. It's like, again,
But then
I'm not saying he wasn't, but it's just like,
I'll go the other side. Like,
some
maybe
clean
he was. That was his
thing where it's like some kid comes out and says it.
That was him getting paid off, and we'll keep a look after you, and then it stops happening, and then I'm going to go.
Well, I agree, except that's not what happened. So See, you're exactly right, and this is exactly what happened to Woody Allen, right? So Woody Allen gets accused of molesting his own daughter, Dylan, on a specific day, not years of abuse, on a specific day. And he then pointed out, he's like, hold on, goes back through his diary and goes, I was already on supervised visits by that day. So you're saying that I lived with her for 10 years, had alone time with her whenever I wanted for 10 years. Yes. But after I was already under investigation and supervised, I decided to then drive to her house and molest her on that day. And that's the same thing that's happened with the way, because it was like, they changed the date of the molestation occurrence that they were alleging, because they set a specific date, and then he went, well, I've got footage of you after, back at my house, saying thanks for all the fucking nice stuff at Neverland. And they went, oh, well, then we meet on this day. Well, and he's like, well, hold on. But that day is after I've already been accused. So are you saying that you accused, we were friends, then you accused me of being a pedophile, and then you invited me back when I was under, then after when I was under investigation, I invited you back, and then I molested you? Now, again, this is not saying that he hasn't done anything wrong. It's just saying that, as Matt says, there's no clear evidence that
it's all very muddy, and it's like, you just don't know. Like, now, I can't say,
and I said this last week too, I think just the things I've seen him do with my own eyes are wrong.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
think you should.
Definitely, he had an unhealthy obsession with children, and he should have fucking stopped. Especially after the first time there were accusations.
The
he
fact
should have fucking
that in 1993 he was accused of being a child molester, acquitted, and then instead of going, well, I can't fucking go near kids, I
shouldn't be hanging out with kids and sleeping with them in my bed. And
he
all that
doubled down on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Means that his obsession with kids was, as you say, very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Doesn't make him a child molester, but I think there probably should be a law about taking kids into your bed and giving them.
If you don't want people to think you're a child molester, just don't do it.
Just don't hang out with kids, mate.
Yeah.
I
know, but they said
they say that he was.
I know. I know. The other thing I was going to say, that the other kid from that Finding Neverland, he gave an account and said something happened in the train station, and then it was over this period of years, and then now they're like, well, hang on a minute, the train station wasn't built then; it was built 2 years after that, and then now the kid's like, oh, I guess it was later then. It's like, it's another one
now,
where it's like,
don't get me wrong.
Doesn't mean he misremembered, but still, it's like,
because the whole thing, the thing that this brings to mind too, and the video that you sent me, the tone of it feels just like the videos I watch where people trying to acquit Oswald from the Kennedy assassination, and they say things like, well, the government wants you to think there were 3 shots fired, but people on the ground heard more than 3 shots. And I say, eyewitness testimony is almost the worst kind of proof that you can have, because people will remember things completely wrong, even if they were all there. Second, bullets fucking echo. You might have heard more shots than there actually were fired. It doesn't mean... And, people are like, well, he wasn't as good a shot. Well, guess what? The first shot missed entirely. The second shot missed and got him in the shoulder. The third shot was the one that got him in the head. Like, there is a reason why the official story discredits all of this other information. And maybe that's the answer to your penis question, Matt. Maybe a 10-year-old doesn't know how to describe a penis. And when they said, was it just like your dad's? He said, it was just like my dad's. And they said, okay, circumcised. Because 10-year-old kids don't use words. Kids don't say things like
Jewish
circumcised.
family. He's only ever seen circumcised penis.
Exactly.
He doesn't know.
So I think that's probably why that never came up, is because it was irrelevant.
But it just meant there was no case, basically.
There's enough,
reasonable doubt.
What do they call burden of proof? Reasonable doubt, exactly.
Yeah. In all of them. That's why he never got,
But here's the thing too.
He was never guilty.
I find this so fascinating. And this week, I sent you guys a screenshot. I went back and played the arcade game, Moonwalker, starring Michael Jackson. The goal in this game is to collect as many children as you can.
Because you're rescuing them.
Yeah. But like, it's
And
not a
every
secret
time,
that he
if you
loved
get enough children,
the problem was
they
that,
turn
like,
into a chimp,
yeah.
and then you carry around a chimp for a bit. The guy's a weirdo.
I know, but it was never a question of the fact that he loved kids and it was weird. It was just a question of like, how much is he? What is he doing with these kids? And then even like you said, like even after the accusations, people were like, well, it's probably all right.
Yeah. But even like, yeah, and if you didn't, you were an outlier. Like, do you remember when Jarvis Cocker from Pulp, remember the band Pulp? He rushed the stage when Michael Jackson, it must be Grammys or something like that, right? Rushed the stage and just in protest because he was like, Michael Jackson's singing this song about how he can heal the world and fix the kids and stuff. He's like, this is idolatry. Like this is a guy who's trying to tell you he has Christ-like powers. And this week I watched, have you seen the 8-minute film that's advertising the History album or the His Story album?
No, I mean, they talk about it in the podcast and it
so I went and watched
very
it.
narcissistic.
It's amazing. It is amazing. Jackson is walking down the streets of Budapest. Like, this is Eastern Europe when the Iron Curtain has only just come down in the last couple of years. And there's all of these people. He's walking with this, you can only call it like a Soviet-style army. He is in the fascist military garb. And then they unveil a 30-foot statue of him that is not just for the clip, but also was erected all over Eastern Europe. It
there
is
were statues everywhere over there.
bizarrely hubristic to the point of, I love it. The campness of it. Like, who thinks of themselves in that way?
Yeah, it's so odd. I love there was an episode about how he and his team planted a lot of the tabloid nonsense that came about him, like that him sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber. They sent those photos to the newspaper. They had the editor of the newspaper on, and they said, no, they fucking sent us those photos, mate.
If I took anything
I asked them
away
for a
from
better
the Think
photo,
Twice,
and they sent me another one.
Yes, and they said a better one. Yeah, because they said maybe this is not Michael Jackson.
They said
like
if
him.
it
And I
doesn't
looked
look
it up
exactly
too.
like him.
I've dug into this too, and yes, I saw the first and second photos. If I took anything away from the Think Twice podcast, it was that kind of information, knowing that it was Michael Jackson's own publicity team that were fueling those weirdo rumors because they thought, and any
there was
time
always
he had an
some
album coming
tour
out,
announced or
anytime-
something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get something from here.
Sure. Anytime that he was waning in the press or he needed more publicity, there was another weirdo
something
rumor
was
because
leaked.
they knew that would get picked
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Yeah. There was one thing that made me go, what? In the show, in the podcast. And it was when they said that the nickname Wacko Jacko was racist. Because 200 years ago in England, they used to make monkeys fight. And one of the monkeys was very good at fighting, and his name was Jacko, spelled differently.
Yeah.
And
So they were going off the Jacko. I was thinking the
They
Wacko
think-
was the.
they
I'm
think
trying to
it's-
work
If
out
you're
what
they
listening
think-
only on the podcast, please do yourself a favor and go to YouTube right now so that you can look at Luke's face when he hears this news for the first time.
they think it's more likely that these tabloid journalists were ancient monkey fighting aficionados and racist. And
And
they
that the
thought-
people living in Britain in 20th century would go, hold on, that reminds me of a coon show I once saw a comic about.
Yeah, well, not even. It was like literally a monkey that used to fight other monkeys, and like who knows about that? And then that's more likely than just his name's Jackson,
Yeah.
so they called him Wacko Jacko, which is a shorter
Yeah.
version of his fucking surname. Like, I was
Now,
baffled by that.
to be clear, he fucking hated that nickname, evidently.
Sure, but I don't know. I don't know where that.
But
But
he
I'm
never said it was
confused.
because it was racist.
But
he
I'm
never said it was
confused of
because
the. Because people
It's
think it's
such a
because of the Jacko part. I think they'd be
2023
thinking
thing to
because
say.
of the Wacko part.
No, like, and is it like, are they suggesting that these reporters knew, or are they just suggesting? Is this some new thing where it's like we've discovered that there was a monkey named Jacko, therefore it has now become racist to call Michael Jackson?
Look, I don't want to speculate,
but like, it was so odd. And then they said too, well, and then you consider that later he had a monkey, Coco, with him, and I was like, sorry, are you suggesting they knew he would later have a monkey? The fuck are you talking
it
about?
was a chimp. It was a chimpanzee.
Sure.
His name was
Like-
Bubbles, and it was not a monkey. So I don't think that flies at all.
It was just such an odd section. And then they moved on to something else, and I was like, that was weird.
So we've talked about the fact that he hangs around kids, and that's weird. The second weirdest thing that I think he did, right? Because I understand. Look, the guy got obsessed with plastic surgery. There's plenty of people that do that. He kept doing. He got a nose job. It looked shit. He got another nose job. It looked worse.
Wasn't the first nose job was due to the fire or something?
No,
No,
that was his hair.
dad used to tease him for his big nose.
Okay,
which is sad, to be honest. Like when hearing him talk
Super
about
sad.
that in that interview, is sad.
And in fact, when he talked to Oprah about that, he was like, when he stopped being a cute kid and he was a not so cute teen, people would literally say to his face, "You're not cute anymore." Like, and that must really suck. Like that is what would give you a complex.
Totally,
but this is the thing, Matt. If you yourself, right, suddenly developed a skin disorder that made certain patches on your skin go black, right?
Yes.
And you felt the need to put on a bit of makeup to even out the tone, would you go,
We'll find out
"Fuck
next
it,
week whether I'll do
all black"?
We'll find out
Or
next
would
week.
you use makeup the color of most of your skin?
Yeah.
That's what no one has been able to explain to me.
Yeah, that is
why.
interesting.
I know he had a skin condition. I buy that. I buy that he had a skin condition. Why did he go towards white instead of black?
The reason why my thing is it depend on how bad the skin condition was. Like, would it be easier to go? Which direction is it easier to go?
Okay,
I'll say
Luke,
this,
I pose you the question.
I'll say this.
You've
it's
got black
probably-
on your skin.
It was probably back then easier to get makeup to do it the way he did it than the other way.
Maybe.
That's my thing.
Fine.
Do you know what? I didn't realize, because obviously Bad came out, when we were like 8 or something, came out in the late 80s, right? And that was the album that I first kind of knew him for.
Yeah, same.
I was not aware that was kind of his coming out as that, like completely looking like that. Like,
Oh, same. Yeah.
they describe how basically when the Bad video, which I didn't know Scorsese directed the fucking Bad music video.
I know.
How did I not know
And
that?
it goes for 15 fucking minutes. Yeah.
How did I not know that? But then when they premiered it, all anyone was talking about was like, why does he look like that?
Yeah. I'll take you back, Matt. Scorsese's probably desperate for you to not know that at this point.
I knew John Landis did Thriller, but I didn't know.
And
I didn't know
Ghosts.
Scorsese. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But that makes sense too that John Landis would do the Thriller video because A, he's done American Werewolf in London, so he knows all the prosthetics and stuff, but he's also done Blues Brothers, so he's done these big street dance numbers and stuff too. He's the perfect person for this.
Is there a helicopter in the Thriller music video?
Ooh.
Too soon? Ooh. Too soon.
Luke, you know what that is?
Yeah.
What have I missed?
So Spielberg did a revival of the Twilight Zone in the 80s. Twilight Zone, the movie. Anthology movie with different directors doing different sequences. And somebody died in a helicopter in John Landis's his part.
Allegedly, I think because John Landis.
No, I think they
pushing
did
him-
die.
pushing them- yeah, no, someone did. No. Allegedly because John
Yeah.
Landis insisted
Landis
they
has
do
said,
it again
"It's not my
and
fucking
fly lower or something along those lines. And
Yeah,
people
but I
basically
think
said,
surely
"You
the
killed this
pilot
guy."
should go, that's actually too low. I'm not going to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I'm not obviously not qualified to say. But
You know
that's-
what? That could be next week's show.
We'll investigate that next.
We'll figure that out. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's all I have to say about it. I guess I get this. My feeling is like I don't think he was a crazy predator in the way that we often think of people who do these things. I think if anything happened, it was a weird edge case thing that is not the same, because people say, Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman have always said he didn't do anything. And people go, he was smart enough not to molest them. And it's like, well, so you're saying he was like some kind of like creepy,
Evil genius.
intelligent,
Yeah.
evil predator. Like it really doesn't feel like that.
No,
like
he was a fucking idiot.
if that was the
And here's
case,
the thing.
why is he waiting until there's an active court case to start molesting other kids? Like it just doesn't. I don't know.
Look, power corrupts, as they say. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I do not for a second have trouble believing that he thought he was immune to laws and all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And he just having kids at his house without their parents is already a thing
Yes.
normal people wouldn't do.
Right.
And I think he probably went, fucking stop me, I'm Michael Jackson. And
Yeah,
having kids in your bed and all of that, whether he was intending it to be sexual or not, I think kids at various times, probably maybe years after, went, that wasn't okay, and now I don't feel good about that. And
Yes.
they're completely entitled to feel that. And I think he should be reprimanded for that. Whether or not, as you say, Matt, he deliberately tried to molest and then cover up.
I suspect
That's-
if things happened, it was more a confused, like, horrible thing than some devious plan that he had.
Again,
You know what I mean?
not an excuse.
No,
Still
no,
go
no,
to
no,
jail
no,
if you
not
did
at
it.
all.
But
Not at all. I'm just saying it's like, I don't know, you could compare it to anything else, to be honest. Like, who the fuck else has
Well, you
his
can't,
life?
because no other person on this planet has ever been given the power that we gave to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He put statues in his video, so people really put up statues.
He started calling, he told them to call him the king of pop. And then he said, oh, I didn't say that. And then everyone
Yeah,
just believed it
yeah.
for years and years and years and years. And then everyone was like, oh, the king of pop. And then it's like, hang on a minute. He
Yes.
decided he was the king
His,
of pop.
his own publicity team came up with that name, I know. Disappointing, isn't it? But then, of course it was.
Yeah.
Now that we think about
but
it.
it always was. It would always hit him behind the scenes. The puppet master. Maybe he was,
but
maybe he was a
not in a
genius.
smart way, in a fucking stupid.
But it's also weird. He was such a public figure, but also not.
Luke, you
very.
have moved your mic. Your cat has moved your mic.
They have. But he was a public figure, but also very recluse at the same time.
Yeah. 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 Anyway.
And
Did you watch
lost
that
touch
video
with reality.
where he wanted to find out what it was like to go to a grocery store? So they built the set of a grocery store and hired actors to go and pretend to be shoppers and stuff, so that
I
he
did,
could have
but
the
that's
experience
so
of just
good.
going to do groceries.
That's
There's
fun.
videos
that
of it
has
online.
to be a joke, doesn't it?
No, man,
wish
this
it
guy's
was, mate.
life. This guy's life was just fucking something else. Like he had no, like he. It's like, you know, that saying where they like, if you could speak to a lion, you'd have nothing in common. I feel like it's like that, and I think he felt like that too. Except apparently, talking to kids, he was able to connect on some level, which is sad.
Because when
but-
they talk to some of the, and I can't remember if this is in your video, Matt, that you sent me or something else, but the kids that he definitely didn't molest, that he just
Sure.
hung out with, right?
Yeah.
Their parents have said when he came to our house, he was like, "Can I wash the dishes?"
Yeah,
because he's
yeah,
not
yeah.
allowed to wash dishes where he lives.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he
he
finds
wanted to
normal
vacuum
stuff.
and he wanted to do
But
he's
see,
like, "Oh,
this
it's
is not
living
far
on-
weird.
it's
He's
like
not
I'm a normal
allowed to.
man."
It's he can. It's your choice.
No, but that's the thing, right?
He doesn't
Okay,
know.
so
He doesn't know what to do.
So my wife used to work for one specific media company that I won't say the name of in the context. I mean, go back for other episodes if you want to know. And then when she encountered executives of that company, she had to have specific drinks that evidently they had insisted were always ready for them when they got to the meetings, et cetera, et cetera. And she was complaining to me once about, like, the hubris of that. And I said, well, you say that, except I said once, when I used to work for a production company, I said once that I always like a Red Bull before I go on a shoot because, like, it perks me up. And every single shoot I
you're
was
a
on
Max
from then
Verstappen
on,
fan.
there was a fucking, there was a Red Bull there. And to the point where I had to say at some point, like, there doesn't have to be a guy whose job it is to always get me a Red Bull. Like, can I make that perfectly clear? Like, and I think
And
it
then he
probably
was
happened
fired
like that too.
and lost his house.
Mate, I'm positive that people were told, if you see Michael Jackson going towards that fucking kitchen, you tell him, go back to your fun rooms and stuff, and your
play with your
jumping,
toys.
jumping castle.
That may have happened, but then he also can say, "No, it's fine. I'm going to do it."
No, here's the thing. I don't think he's the boss where he lives. I know he should be, but I don't think he is.
No, because
Well, he's
we've
definitely
talked
not the
about-
boss
I don't want
where
to
he
go on
is
about it.
now.
I don't want to go on about it, but the way his dad
The
treated him when they were
afterlife.
kids, I feel like he didn't have a whole lot of autonomy, or wouldn't have felt like he had a whole lot of autonomy in his life at all, to be honest. 'Cause his
There's a
dad was-
great. It's not just him. There's a great clip that I saw this week of Mariah Carey being interviewed, and she doesn't know what a gas bill is, and she's baffled because she says something about doing something with her money, and the guy, the reporter goes, "Oh, if I have any spare money, I'm usually just trying to get ahead of my gas. No, I'm usually just paying bills." And she goes, "Who's Bill?" And he goes, "No, gas, like gas bill." And she goes, "Who's gas Bill?" And she just doesn't know what it is.
Fucking hell.
It's just somebody's job to pay those for her.
That I can understand.
one thing before, we should go on about. One thing I wanted to mention is not about Michael Jackson. I love that fucking lawyer whose office was opposite the court where the case was going on. They interviewed this guy, and he just rented out his roof to people who want to take photos. He rented out the front yard to Jimmy Kimmel to put a bouncy camel.
Yeah.
A bouncy camel?
But
bouncy
for
house?
huge money.
Where the fuck
Because they
did camel
said,
come from?
a bouncy camel. That's a Freudian slip, mate.
Yeah, Jesus.
You want to
I just thought that guy was
camel.
hilarious. He said he made $300,000 off that trial.
Yeah, because he says, Luke, he goes, a guy, one like reporter from the Times or something said, "Can I stand on your roof and take pictures?" And just because he was like, "Well, fuck it," he goes, "Yeah, sure." It's $1,000 an hour, and the guy was like, "No problem," and he was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
right.
And then when
okay.
Kimmel was like, "We want to put a jumping castle in your front yard," he was like, "Okay, it's $5,000 an hour." And they're like, "No problem." And he's
Sounds
like,
good.
"What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like thinking ridiculous number, like
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Well, because when he first took the photographers up, they went up there and they looked out, and then Michael pulled up, got out, stood on the roof of the car, and like
fucking moonwalked on the roof of his
moonwalked
car.
on the roof of the car, and they had this perfect view of it, and all the photographers were like, "Take my fucking money,
Yeah.
like we'll be back tomorrow."
Can we live
Yes.
here for the 3 months that this trial will be on?
yeah.
Yeah,
But do you remember what he used the money for?
to make a TV commercial where he was Indiana Jones.
Yes, to make a trailer where he for his practice, where he hangs off a helicopter,
That's amazing.
jumps out of a helicopter into a convertible, drives off.
Yeah, amazing. That guy was awesome.
Yeah. God.
All right,
Can
so
we
we've
talk
spoken about half an hour for
Yeah.
All right,
Before
that's
we
enough.
go into
That's
anything
enough.
else, I've just got one more thing. Not about Michael Jackson, but just while
Okay.
we're on people who hate kids. It's
Well,
been well documented.
we're not on people who hate kids. That's the
Oh,
problem.
sorry. That love kids too much? No. But just what Roald Dahl, beloved children's author, and still one of my favourite kids authors to this day. Infamously hated children, thought they were awful. Evidently has been trolling us this entire time. Do you remember the scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? And I can't remember if this is in the book, but I definitely know it's in the film. So it must have been in the book, right? Where there's lickable wallpaper.
Yes.
And he goes to kids, "Come and have a lick." And he says, "The strawberries taste like strawberries, the blueberries taste like blueberries, and the snozberries taste
Yes.
like snozberries." And
Yep.
you think it's just he was making up a
Yeah,
funny
because what's a
sounding fruit.
snozberry?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. No. So, before Roald Dahl was a kid's author, he was an adult author. And I don't mean porn. I mean,
He was
just wrote
like
for adults.
Benjamin Button, and he aged backwards. He became a children's author late in life.
He wrote a James Bond book, for fuck's sake. But he wrote a book, one particular book called My Uncle Oswald, right?
Okay.
And in that book is the following passage. "There's only one way I could get violent," Yasmin said. "I grabbed hold of his snozberries and held on to them like grim death, gave them a twist or two to make him hold still. Very effective. Snozberries are testicles."
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, there's no two ways you can take that. The strawberries taste like strawberries, and the testicles taste like
Balls
testicles.
taste like balls.
So you stay away from the snozberries then. You stick with the
Stay away,
strawberries.
kids. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to Timothée Chalamet and his snozberries.
I am as well. You know who's not looking forward to that movie? Apparently, dwarves, who are fucking angry that.
Yeah. Hugh Grant.
Yeah, mind you, Oompa Loompas aren't dwarves. They're
No.
fictitious creatures that Roald Dahl made up in his head.
but they were played by dwarves in the other one, so yeah.
Yeah.
This reminded me of that thing where Peter Dinklage was saying they shouldn't have to put up with those roles, and all the other dwarf actors were like, "Sorry, mate, can we
Yeah,
not?"
they're the only roles we get, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take what we can get. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We're not all Peter Dinklage.
Now, there was that controversy with the Snow White movie, which was directed by Rupert Sanders, I believe.
And,
who-
Yeah, but they got
Ad
actors
nauseam.
play and then put
And the Hobbit
faces.
too. The Hobbit
yeah,
too. They were not.
that's right. They literally superimposed full-size actors onto dwarfs' faces. I can see why you'd be annoyed. But then again, they did that with Indiana Jones in the most recent movie. They got a young
yeah.
actor, and they superimposed Harrison Ford's face onto him. Like,
yeah.
that's movies. If you're not
Yeah.
the star, you're just an extra.
Look, speaking of Hugh Grant, I watched a movie. It's been a couple of weeks since I watched it now, but I haven't talked about it yet. And I'm guessing maybe Luke's seen it. I don't know.
Oh, if it's what I think you're talking about,
It's got Hugh Grant in it.
I've seen him in something a while ago.
well, it's not
watched-
Guardians 3, so I'm assuming you're
No,
talking
I
about
did watch
Dungeons
that
and
too.
Dragons.
It's Dungeons and Dragons.
I haven't seen it yet.
No, we haven't seen it, and we
Guys,
discussed last week.
Guys, it's really good.
Is it?
It's really
So
good.
We said only if you said it was good would we even
Yes.
give it a chance.
Guys, watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Are you serious?
It's really good. It's really
Okay.
funny.
In what way does it tie into Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
It's literally set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, set in the
Okay.
Forgotten Realms of Dungeons and Dragons, like Neverwinter's in it, and
So it's not like kids getting sucked into a game or anything like that.
no.
It's-
However, if you're familiar with that, keep an eye out for an Easter egg later in the movie.
Ooh, okay.
It's about a bard who is in prison and then busts out of prison and then wants to try and get his life back together and organizes a heist to get the money.
Wait,
I'm
Are you
I'm
sure
trying
this
not
is
to
the
give things
Dungeons
away.
and Dragons? Are you sure this is not a
It's basically
Guy
a
Ritchie
heist movie. It's a heist movie set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's fucking excellent. It plays out like a game of Dungeons and Dragons where you've got like, I don't want to give things away, but it's
Rotisserie
great.
chickens.
They've got these ridiculous characters. There's this paladin who's just fucking good at everything, and like Michelle Rodriguez plays a barbarian in it. She's
she does.
hilarious. It's really good.
All right. I will
All right.
finish today and I will go and watch it.
Yeah,
I promise you, you're gonna
certainly
laugh.
give it a watch. Yeah.
You're gonna laugh. It's yeah. I can't believe how good it was. There's a fat dragon who just like rolls after them because it can't. It's like "Ugh." It's so funny.
All right. I mean, this does sound good. I'll admit it does sound good.
Yeah, but
Is this the start of a
skeptical.
potential franchise?
I
Is
am
that what
still
they're
am.
trying to do? Because this is Dungeons
Maybe.
and Dragons :
well, who
Sea of
owns
Thieves or
Dungeons and
something,
Dragons
isn't it?
at the moment?
Wizards
It's
of the Coast.
Wizards of the Coast.
Well,
yeah,
Hasbro-
aren't they?
Hasbro.
Hasbro, but Hasbro's trying to make money at the moment. So this,
I think they've always been
Well,
trying
that's because
to. but
fucking
they're
Mattel
doing
are
it in
making a
films.
ton of money.
no, but I think there's a big push because remember they were trying to monetize some other stuff as well.
I think based off if they do another one, they should do another one like this. Not necessarily with the same characters, but like that. The tone
same
of this is great because it feels like watching people play Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like just weird enough. You know, like because people do weird shit in Dungeons and Dragons, and it's got that, and but it's like high fan. It's like Tolkien, but like
Comedy
with idiots.
Tolkien. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, Tolkien
Kind of
with
thing.
idiots should have been the tagline. I would have watched it if it was
Yeah.
if it said that. Do
Anyway.
you remember that French short film about those guys
Yeah.
playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, I do. It's very funny.
Yeah.
But I also
I
watched
don't-
Guardians 3.
Oh, what do
No,
you
I
think of
I
Guardians
still
3?
haven't seen that.
Okay, well, I won't spoil anything. I thought Guardians 3 was good. I didn't think it was as good as Guardians 1.
No.
And I didn't think 2 was as good as 1. I think it would be... At the moment, it's my least favorite of the Guardians movies. It's still very good. But then I remember that I didn't like 2 as much the first time. It wasn't until I watched it the second time that I really appreciated it. So I'm like, maybe I should watch 3 again.
Mary
But
fucking Poppins, y'all.
it's good.
Now, Dan,
it's
do you
very
care
good.
about spoilers?
Should I care about it for this? No, I don't.
No.
I don't.
Okay.
It's not a huge amount to spoil.
I haven't been avoided.
The one thing I quite liked about the movie is what the story relationship they have between Quill and Gamora. That it's not
She's
just
dead. She's not in it. She's not in it. She's dead.
and it's not just that.
Well,
'cause-
you're kind of correct.
yeah, because remember at the end of Endgame when they're sort of like making it like, no, you do know him, you get along, and they're trying to make out that yes, we'll get together. That's not the story. Quill is in love with her. Gamora is. I have no idea who you are,
Yeah, she's like, I don't know you. Leave me alone.
Yeah, right.
and it's not about a story about them rekindling their love or anything. It's
He's a creep to her.
It's him like trying way too hard and her being like, go away.
yeah.
Like
Wow.
never.
Amazing.
You're too
Yeah.
weird.
And I quite like that. That's how they took that storyline instead of
Yeah.
no, they got back.
Oh,
together and
she
everything's right.
remembered, even though it's not. It's from,
He
she's in
somehow
the past,
unlocked
whatever.
her. Yeah, yeah.
I wondered
Yeah.
if they, like James Gunn knew he was going to do a bunch of these. I wonder if he had this whole story arc planned out, and then they called him in for a meeting one day, and they said, "All right, so this is this blah blah blah." Oh, and Gamora dies in
another movie
in Infinity War. That's not a problem, is it? And he was like, "You fucking what?"
Yeah.
Well, I think that is something that happened. I don't think he knew that Gamora was going to die, that they were planning to kill her off.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it works. It's good.
He made it work.
Man, there's fucking funny moments in this movie, I gotta say.
That's fun. I want to watch it again. I've only watched it once, but I think it's worth a rewatch. I think
It's definitely the weirdest. I'm surprised they let him make this movie in a lot of ways, because it's very violent.
We've said that about each of them so far.
This one is not a kids movie.
No.
Really? Okay.
It's got like blood and like violence, and like it's dark as fuck. And I was like, the bits where I was like, "This is a Marvel movie." Like,
I wonder if this was them trying to get him to stay. Like, we'll let you go a little bit further now.
it's super weird in parts, like in a good way. I like, but like I just couldn't believe. Like, I mean, you've seen the trailer. There's a planet that's like made of like meat almost. It's like a I don't know how to describe it. It's like a bio planet almost. And it's so weird. Like, yeah.
I'm in. Yeah, okay. I got to check this out.
No, watch it.
Actually, I don't know why it's taken me this long to see it.
Yeah, because it's on streaming now. It's still a fun movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, here's a bit of trivia to link one movie to another that we can briefly mention. The little girl in, is it Infinity War, where you see the young Gamora
Yeah.
have to turn away from
think both, actually,
seeing
yeah.
her parents? Yeah. The girl who plays her is the daughter in the Barbie movie.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. You saw the Barbie movie, didn't you?
I did.
Do you mean Skipper, or is this a different character? I don't know anything about this movie.
No,
I
it's
just
not
know
Skipper.
I don't know Skipper. I don't know
Skipper's
Skipper's
in there.
relationship to Barbie.
Pregnant.
What did you think of the Barbie movie?
I liked it.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's very good. It's
It's got
very
Ryan
good.
Gosling in it. Can't go wrong, really, can you?
He is fucking hilarious.
Yep.
Samo Liu is in it.
Oh, yeah.
Also
yeah,
as Ken. Also fucking hilarious. I assume if you had Barbies, you would get even more jokes and references than I got. Because I didn't realize that all the
It looks like
different
Luke's
men were
nodding
all
as if
just
like,
Ken.
oh, yeah.
Well, no, because
as if he had Barbie.
no, I didn't have Barbies. I know people who've seen it who did, and they go, no, they are Barbie. They are characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're all.
And Alan, oh my God.
Alan is the greatest character ever.
If you're going on YouTube and spouting hate for this movie, because I mean, it's fine if you didn't like it, but if you're spouting hate for this movie because you think it's anti-man, or because then you've
Go and
just
see it.
misunderstood. You haven't got it. It's not. If you're threatened by this movie, then you need to look at yourself. Really, it's great. I cried. It's very moving.
You thought there'd be more horses
lovely.
involved.
Yeah, I really, once I found out that patriarchy wasn't about horses, I kind of lost interest. So good. So good. Like it starts acting like it's going to be like political, and then just makes a joke out of it. It's so good. It's very good.
I gotta go see Oppenheimer still, and I gotta go see. I was gonna go see him this week, but you know,
Luke,
I figured
don't know.
I want to listen to the
they're very
movie with
different.
both ears.
I'd say it's better than Oppenheimer. Would you say that, Luke?
Honestly, if I was going to watch one of them again, I would watch Barbie again.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Barbie, you know what happens at the end. Did we talk about the fact that Christopher Nolan wanted to speak directly to Luke and tell him?
He did?
Yeah, he said there are people who tell me that the ending of Inception is open to interpretation. It's not.
Yes.
Because the point is not whether the top spins or doesn't spin. It's the fact that he doesn't care anymore. That's the ending.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
Also,
Christopher, if that's what it is, then I would know that. I don't know that.
The fact
So
that Leo's
maybe work
character
on that.
has stopped paying attention and he doesn't care anymore, and that's what matters. And
No,
the ending
he
is
got
not ambiguous
distracted
in
at that
sense.
time. He didn't
By
make a
his
choice. He got
kids.
distracted.
He's back with his
children
kids.
that he
Yeah,
thought
but-
was dead. Yeah. Oh no!
But
wait, the
he
Dead
was-
Kids is
no,
him
because he
in,
was making a
Shutter
choice
Island.
to do
I
it
get,
and then got
I get
distracted.
Shutter Island and Inception mixed up.
That's the other thing.
My
Christopher
mind
Nolan
was
said, "There's
blown.
definitely not Shutter Island. That was not the movie that I made."
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
tell Luke.
Also
the
a
ending
very
is
good
not
movie.
ambiguous. I want to
Also
tell Dan.
starring-
The ending is not Shutter Island.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, let him know. I read something the other day too that blew my mind. The top is not his totem. His
Oh, it's
totem
hers.
is his wedding ring. The scenes that are definitely real, he has the wedding ring. The scenes that maybe aren't, he's not wearing it.
I never thought of that.
The totem is her totem, which we
You're
know.
right, because he fucks
And
with
he
it.
carries it with him because he says that he,
I
wants to
never even
remember
thought
and
of that.
stuff.
You're right.
But his totem is his wedding ring.
I'm going to watch that movie again.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say one thing. If you wanted to make it clear that it was a choice, you would have him have the top in his hand, look
Yeah.
out at the children, go
Look at the
spin
pin.
it, look
I
at the
have
children,
made my
and then put
choice.
the top down, and then walk out.
Yeah. Then turn
that's
to
when-
camera and say, I'm going to spin this top, but it's important that you, the audience, know I'm not going to check
No,
it.
but that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to spin the top. He just goes, puts the top down on its side and goes, and it's
I
like,
love-
no checking. Just
I
come
love
going.
that there's all these YouTube videos of people going, when a filmmaker trusts the audience. And it's like, and they don't mean Luke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you should, to be clear,
Yeah.
you shouldn't
Luke cannot
trust
be
Luke
trusted to understand
No.
your film.
to make up his own mind. Yeah.
No, you tell me what I'm meant to think.
How should I be feeling about this?
Yeah. Well, it's like, but he learned from that. I think Nolan learned from that because, Matt, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but right at the end of Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy turns to the camera and says, and we bombed Japan.
Did you see this? I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny. I put this in here, didn't I? That Warner had to apologize to Japan
For the Barbieheimer poster. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't make this, but they retweeted or liked a tweet where someone had made a Barbieheimer poster where it was, I think it was Oppenheimer carrying Barbie or Barbie carrying Oppenheimer out of the atomic bomb or something like that. And then that it got shared and people in Japan saw it and then were like,
Which I can sort of
fuck?
understand where, like, Warner Brothers, this is a bit of fun, but we forget that Oppenheimer, terrible stuff actually happened.
it was because
Yeah.
it said this summer is going to be explosive or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they were like, are you kidding me?
It's a touchy
Yeah.
subject.
Yeah, no, I do think
Okay,
we
no,
do
no.
forget.
I put this out there. When Japan starts teaching the true account of World War II to kids in schools, then we'll start being
But they
sensitive
also,
about the bomb.
it got funnier because I mean, it's funny, it's not funny, but like people in Japan who are upset were going like, how would you like it if we did this? And they were photoshopping like Barbie and Oppenheimer onto like the World Trade Center and stuff like that. And it was like, sorry, that's not the same.
I was about
Like,
to
I
say,
get where you're coming from, but like you are being.
No, I mean it's
No.
a bit the same. It's
It is a bit the same.
Oppenheimer didn't blow up the World Trade Center, guys.
No, but
But-
if Japan made a movie, if Afghanistan made a movie about blowing up the World Trade
Yeah, but then
Center,
that would be different. But yeah. But I'm saying like, yeah.
No, I could.
because I was about to say the Americans are probably
like
not as sensitive as Japanese, but no, they are very sensitive. About
No,
that.
because
They
people
are.
on Twitter were just like laughing, going, "Okay, guys, sorry, we're not."
Yeah, because I think because it was sort of making like it was a terrible thing. Like even what Japan did, what happened to them, it was all terrible.
Yeah, obviously.
And I think that got lost, and so I can sort of see. Yeah,
I mean, it got lost in the marketing. They do address that in the movie.
yeah, in
Just
the
to be
movie,
clear,
it's very
And
clear.
There's a part where Cillian Murphy, again, no spoilers, practically turns to camera and says, "I don't know if I should invent the bomb because it's going to kill people."
Should we-
I mean,
should we
if
kill a
you
bunch
watch
of
the
people?
movie and you don't come away with that message, then you need to watch it again.
Yes.
Oh, it's ambiguous, Dan. It's ambiguous how he felt.
My favorite part, Luke, of Barbie, and this is not a spoiler, Matt, so I'm just gonna put it in there.
Is when Barbie goes,
But-
"I don't know if we should invent the bomb."
sort of. There's this part where Barbie, that Barbie goes to the real world, right? That's in the trailer.
I
She goes to the
know-
real
I know
world.
that about
her.
this
Her
movie,
fake
yes.
world starts fading away, and there's this one point where she's like, "I don't feel pretty anymore," and then somebody goes, "You're really pretty," and she's like, "Yeah, but I'm not like Barbie doll pretty. And then the voice of her goes, the filmmakers acknowledge that casting Margot Robbie was not the best person to make this particular point.
I love that. No, Matt, you have to see the Barbie movie.
So we're now going to choose.
I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm sure I will. But you guys have to watch Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, no, I would definitely watch that. Well, I can watch that for comfort of my own home. That's the trick.
Yeah.
We would have all watched all these movies if we didn't have to go to the cinema for. I've gone to the cinema more this month than in the last 3 years combined.
I've seen 3 movies in the last few weeks.
I've been once, and it still counts. It still makes the grades.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen 4. I went and
Matt,
saw Meg 2 last week.
I'm not even going to allow you space to talk about Meg 2.
I don't want to.
Yeah. I'll say this, Matt.
so
Again,
meant to.
not a spoiler, but if you're going to go and see Oppenheimer, leave aside some money. It will make you want to buy a new hat.
Yes, it really will.
Okay. All right.
He wears a very nice hat.
He does, and I need it. And I don't have a hat like this. It's the wider brim, which I normally don't like. But
it's just like it's
it
the
looks
normal
great.
fedora, but with a wide, flat brim. It's very nice.
I made one of those when we were in Paris. I wonder if it's it's
yeah.
wrong color. Obviously, mine's green, but
Trust me, this is nicer than.
Yeah.
You want this exact.
Well, it's not
hat,
just his
sorry.
hat. It's like everyone's wearing nice hats.
Yeah.
And
True, yeah, but there's
It's
a
the
lot of
era
shots
of
of him
cool
putting
hats.
it on in slow motion too.
Yes.
Like it's,
You have
while
to
things are
practice that.
exploding behind him.
Speaking of directors, we still got a little bit of time left in the main
Yes.
show, I think, right? Speaking of,
I think so.
famous directors, I saw this article this week, and I've put a little tongue-in-cheek comment on this, but it was Ridley Scott.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
No, Ridley Scott came out this week and said that he kind of wishes that he had not done Alien Covenant and that he had done Blade Runner 2049 instead. And I just have to say, I am so glad he didn't.
Yeah. Wait, so you're saying that Blade Runner 2049 could have been as good as Alien Covenant?
I was like thinking, did Ridley Scott watch the movie he made? And then he watched the
Yeah.
movie Denis Villeneuve had made and was like, I wish I'd made that one. Like, I bet you fucking do, mate.
Now, I'll
I
say
wish I'd
this.
made that movie.
A second viewing of Alien Covenant, I liked it a lot more than the first viewing.
Okay.
But mostly because it wasn't the movie we were promised we were going to get.
No.
And by promised, I mean the last scene of Prometheus, where you saw them fly off on a ship. We thought, okay,
I want
what
that
happens
story.
next?
It was supposed to be her and David's head in a bag having adventures.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
No, we skip 1,000 years into the future.
Yeah.
I even bought and read Alan Dean Foster's prequel novel to Alien
Yeah,
Covenant
that's
to
right.
find out what it is, and it's just about that fucking married couple boarding the ship. I mean, it was a good book, but I was very disappointed.
No,
Yeah.
Ridley, just stop.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hate to say it, but I'm glad he didn't. Like, I feel like he would have.
I mean, maybe
I
once
don't know
upon
what's
a
going
time.
on with him, but I think he's lost it.
Well, did you read Shia LaBeouf's comments this week about Steven Spielberg?
No.
So
No.
Shia LaBeouf doesn't care who hates him now, because he has come out and said, when you meet Steven Spielberg today, well, he said when he met Steven Spielberg, he was disappointed. He uses that word. He was disappointed. He said it wasn't like meeting a man. It was like meeting a corporation. And he says, when you meet Steven Spielberg today,
Wow.
it's not the Steven Spielberg you think of in your head. He's not the Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws. He's not that guy anymore. So if you meet him,
Interesting.
don't expect that.
Okay, but who has a job? Well, sorry, but what's Shia doing these days?
What is Shia doing these days? I
Just
don't know.
fathering the child of that beautiful actress that he knocked up, I guess.
Mia Goth, is that? Yeah.
Because
She's
he's
going to
sort
be
of,
in.
Have either of
Maxine.
you knocked up Mia Goth? No.
Not recently. No.
I am very keen for Maxine. Oh, that should be the tagline.
It probably is.
Guys, there's so much more to talk about, but we're running out of time. Listeners, if you're a patron of this show, fear not. You can just keep on listening. If you're not, and you don't want the ride to end, much like the Dungeons and Dragons ride that those kids got on that took them into the parallel universe, I guess, of the
Yeah,
Dungeons and
I don't
Dragons.
quite
Realms.
remember.
They
trying
should
to-
be
I'm
the
try-
Forgotten Realms.
Yeah. Then head over to patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm. Patreon.com, if you don't know what it is, it's like OnlyFans for nerds. So
Yeah.
give us
There's
some
no
money on that.
nudity unless you
Yeah,
want
very
to see
little
nudity.
nudity,
We could make a tier
If
for
any,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a comment section. If that's what you want,
Yeah.
just
Let us
tell
know.
us.
If you
on
want
there.
to pay for it, I'll show it.
Yep.
That's what Michael Jackson said to those kids.
Ooh.
That's all for this week. Thank you for listening and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe in iTunes to receive episodes automatically. We'll see you next time.